Joining on the sofa today is the incredible Freddie Pool, a powerhouse vocalist known for her soulful voice and dynamic stage presence. Once performed with the former Supremes and now with the 3 Degrees. Freddie will be diving into her journey in the music industry, the highs and lows, and what keeps her passion alive. Okay, so good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are across the globe. Welcome to On the Sofa with Esther. And this is one of my special 60 minutes intimate moments with Esther on the sofa because there's so many incredible people I've interviewed over the years, and I want to get to know them. I want to get to know these incredible people more. Who are they? Who are they as a person? Who are they as a soul? And their history. And I remember talking to Freddie, Freddie Pool, a couple of years ago, and we got talking, and there was this beautiful vibe. And she was sharing some about the people who she's worked with and sang with and performed with. And I thought, oh my gosh, I really want to catch this. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Freddie Pool.
Hello, Esther. Gosh, it's so great to be with you again. It's lovely to see you.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And I'm going to do a more formal introduction soon, but as you know, I need to ask my guests, who is Freddie in a nutshell, in a peanut shell, in a nice warm coconut shell?
Okay, so someone who was flowing. Does that make sense? No?
Yeah.
Yeah?
No,
Okay.
it's
All right. Flowing. I like to think that I am sometimes an elusive uh butterfly,
mm,
but that has nothing to do with the peanut shell.
mm.
Okay.
We're going to unpeel that then, aren't we? Because what those three words, the peanut shell, the butterfly, and what was the other one? Elusive.
An elusive, yes.
They're all sort of powerful contrasts, but there's so much in that contrast as well that is unifying. And when you stream down, you've got the soul of Freddie Poole, someone who I feel is expansive, someone who I feel is caring, someone who I feel is loving, someone who I feel is connected to nature.
Yes, and gosh, I love everything that you just said about, yes, and really, that really does describe uh, my spirit, my energy. I was just meeting with one of my little nieces, 7 years old, and she
Mm,
was she was so happy to see me. Okay, because I live in a totally different state here in the U.S., and she said to me, "You have really made my day. I'm so very happy." And I said, "Oh, I would love to know why I made your day." She says, "Because I love your energy. You have lots of energy."
mm,
Okay. And she, because I do love like playing with the children, not necessarily playing like kids games or like that, but just being free and
mm.
communicating on the level of where they are. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she embraced me, and her granny was like, "Oh no, so now you're gonna toss me for Aunt Freddie." But children are so very honest.
They are.
Um, yeah, and I'm thinking I really want to believe that that is who I am,
Mm.
like a free spirit.
Yeah. Okay. And that's brilliant because what I'm going to do now is just read a little bit about who you are. And I get the word in human form, but I think you get that. This is quite spiritual. But I'm going to read a bit about who Freddie Poole is in terms of your career, in terms of your journey. And then we can start to unpeel a little bit about the butterfly. And even in that elusiveness, there's something very strong and powerful where you can remain elusive and still be the butterfly. There's something very powerful about that dichotomy. I love that word of those two things. because with the butterfly, she spreads her wings. She's free. She's colorful. She's this is who I am. And yet to be elusive, sometimes it feels as if you're shunning from the world, but you're strong in that place as well. So let me just read this. So who is Freddie Pool? Um, you were born in you were born in Dallas, Texas. Freddie was born
Yes,
in Texas, and she began her musical journey at the tender age of 4, singing in church. And then at the age of 14, she secured her first recording contract with the Delicates. Have I pronounced that correctly?
that is correct. The
Yeah,
Delicates. Yes.
Delicates, which was a girl group that included Darlene Walton, Billy Ray Calvin, and Brenda Joyce Evans. Then the group recorded several singles for labels such as Challenge, Soul Town, and Pulsar Records. Um, with James, you were mentored by someone called James, is that correct?
James Cleveland.
James Cleveland, yes,
Yes,
yes.
yes.
And
James Cleveland is one of our iconic, legendary gospel singers. Very, very powerful. Yes.
And then you also caught the attention of Motown founder Berry Gordy, who invited you to record a demo he recorded called Crying, produced by Hal Davis and Mark Gordon, with Brenda Holloway and Frank Wilson on backup vocals. And even though Gordy expressed an interest in you singing as a solo artist, you chose to remain with the Delicates. And then so we're going to sort of start there and move on up to where you are now, performing with the 3 Degrees, Valerie Holiday. Um, and I, Valerie Holiday, and who's the other lady's name?
Jessica Wagner.
That's right, that's right. So I would love to ask you, Freddie, your journey has been a wonderfully eclectic, and I would say joyful experience. What have you What have you learned about yourself on this wonderful musical journey?
Oh, I've learned that I really know how to connect with audiences. I, I have learned that I can connect, um, although it is an audience, but I can also individualize
Mm,
the people in the audience, and and uh, I know how to make an unhappy face smile. I was told by one of the greatest entertainers of all times that when performing,
mm,
y- you look out into that audience, and for that one person who is least enjoying him or herself, work on that person.
mm.
And when you see satisfaction coming from them, then you know that you're really pleasing the audience.
Excellent.
Because one person is as important as thousands. So uh, I know that I have learned that. I have actually learned from the best in the show business industry
Mm.
when I'm on stage. So, you know, performing is what I know.
Yes, and what you do, and what you
It's
do well.
it, it is it is what I do, and I also know that when I am making vocal mistakes, okay, uh, I know how to hear that and know how to pull out all of my crafts and make that mistake the best that I can. Uh,
Brilliant.
yeah, yeah, and to
Mm,
continue with the performance. That's what I've learned about myself. Also, I've learned that no matter what goes, what the situation in my life, what the experience is in my life at that time, when I'm on stage, no one purchased tickets or travel distances uh, to arrive and hear my problems. And I know that it would not be fair. So I know how to, and I think most show business people know how to do this.
Mm,
Uh, put your put your issues aside.
mm.
Once you become that performer, you have an audience. Uh, you are truly, you owe them all that you can give. And
Brilliant,
yeah.
brilliant. And you
Mhm.
that you've learned from some of the best. I remember in our conversation previously, you spoke about Sammy Davis Jr. And I think you also mentioned, if I remember correctly, Eartha Kitt. Is that correct? Um, and so many other legends. If you can just share some of the experience you had with those legends, because one thing I've noticed when I've interviewed lots of I would say the classic old school legends, there's something about the show must go on. There's something about having certain values that are rooted not just only in their belief, their spirituality, their religion, but something that's rooted in being a showbiz, being in show business. So, can you share some of the experiences you've had with some of those legends? We can start with maybe with Sammy Davis Jr. and what you got out of those experiences or connections with.
The first iconic artist that I worked with was Etta James. Ah, I was performing, my little teenage group was performing at this club where all the black artists, when they come into Los Angeles, they would perform at this little club. It was called the California Club. My little teenage group was performing there, and we were so happy to know that people like Etta James is going to be on the bill, and there were others, but my focus was just on Etta James. And so little did we know, we had no idea that if you're on the same bill with an artist, you do not sing their song. But we did. We sang one of Etta James' songs. Oh, sometimes I get a good feeling, yeah. And we sang it, and we were having so much fun with it. And Etta James was just standing in the wing. And when we walked off stage and she was on stage, she said to the audience, "Who are those little bees that were out here singing my song?" And the audience started laughing really hard, and she complimented us.
Wow.
She was so impressed with us, and she took us on tour with her. Okay, um, and so with Etta, I just learned she had that raspy kind of,
Mm,
in her voice. Um, and I just loved Etta James. So what I learned from her is, like, there was a bit of humor, like,
mm,
on stage. Yeah. So I was able to understand that. Then from Etta James, I'll move on. Like years later, there was Sammy Davis Jr. Um, People like Bill Cosby. What I learned from Sammy Davis Jr. was what I'd said early on. Uh, you work really hard on that person in
mm,
the audience who appear to not be having a good time.
mm.
You know, just work on that person, and to know that that person is so valued. You work on him, and as though he's thousands of people.
Wow.
Okay. Uh, um, mm. The other thing I learned from him was, like, how to really carry yourself. Okay, when on tour, eyes are on you. You don't even know who really
Mm,
is looking, but at all times be on your best behavior. Yeah, yeah, at all times. Um, Sarah Vaughan, Oh,
Oh,
yes, yes, yes. I used to sit until like 6 a.m. Listening to Sarah Vaughan and oh, I can't forget her, Lena Horne.
oh, you're mentioning some names now. So you
Yes.
actually worked with Lena Horne and Sarah Vaughan, or you just you went to their
Well,
performances?
because I was performing in Las Vegas, and at that time, yes, eyes are really on us. Okay, in Las Vegas on the Strip, and so it was, the people who had all the experience, older, and they were teaching these young people. Okay, no alcohol, no drugs. Uh, uh, you want to know, and this is how they would best put it to us: money does not invest in your failures.
Wow.
So we had to we had to make sure that that let's see, how should I say, that we were respecting, and then to know that we will then receive the respect. You're one time in Las Vegas, you have to earn the respect. If you don't, you will never come back to Las Vegas.
Mm.
Well, I want to come back to Las Vegas. So, as my granny would always say, when you walk out my door, please be in that same frame of mind, or that same state that you were when you return. I
Mm.
want you to be the same that you were when you made that exit out the door. When you come back home, I want you to still be in that state of mind. Don't lose it. So, that with what my granny, instilled in me, and now here I am years later, on the professional scene with all of these iconic people. They're saying the same thing, but like in a whole nother arena, a whole nother arena. Ah, then I performed with another one of the greatest entertainers of all times. She was not a recording artist. She was an entertainer. Her name was Lola Falana. Lola Falana earned the title as Queen of Las Vegas.
Okay.
And uh, our show consisted, it was like a huge production. We had as many as 22 people traveling with us, touring with us. And we had props of like 30 feet risers, and you're running up these risers, and there were 8 dancers, wonderful, fantastic dancers, so much exciting energy on the stage, and we performed with orchestras.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
Yes, yes. So, uh, and Lola Falana was someone who worked really close with Sammy Davis Jr., which is how I got to meet Sammy Davis Jr.
Mhm.
Sammy Davis Jr. and it also afforded me the opportunity to meet people like Frank Sinatra. How about that? We we would perform the Jerry Lewis Telethon, which is uh, every year, and it was a fundraiser for multiple what is it? Say the word. Multiple sclerosis. Those
Okay,
children.
sclerosis,
Oh,
yeah.
yes, yes, yes. And so, and every iconic artist that you can name supported that telethon. And I'd be in the green room listening to them. I didn't want to go anyplace else. Okay, during my breaks, I wanted to sit there and I want to listen. I want to learn from these people who know exactly what they're talking about. They're already there.
Mm.
I would love to get there. So I need to learn from them. And so uh, so many of them.
You're the hungry. Can you?
So many of them, and I can back up to like from my little teenage group, the Delegates, when Motown moved from Detroit to Hollywood, and my teenage group was a local Southern California group, and Barry Gordy and his team came to my mom's house, and they wanted me to sign up with Motown, but I would not leave my little teenage group because I'm thinking, no, I had no idea. Uh, you know, I didn't know
Mm.
who Barry Gordy was. I really didn't. And so I chose to stay with my group. But in the meantime, yes, I did do a recording, and this recording was written by Frank Wilson and his wife. I went into the recording and I recorded. It was entitled "Crying." So Frank Wilson and Brenda Holloway did the background for me. Okay. Uh, Still, I did not leave my little group. So, that was the end of Motown.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah. But just to push the button forward, uh, then I started after my teenage group, we were touring, and after that, uh, like on what level did I get? I'm trying to think how I actually how I left them. Well, like how groups, things happen. And so the group started to uh, break up.
Oh
Uh,
my.
yeah, yeah. And then that is when I started doing like background singing. And the background singing, uh, I did recordings, gospel recordings with people like Aretha Franklin. When Aretha Franklin would come to Los Angeles and record with the legendary James Cleveland. And James Cleveland knew me. So James Cleveland would give me a call. Are you available? I want to use you on this session. And I'm like, well, of course. And my answer was always yes. Okay, as long as I am available. And so
Mm-hmm.
I even got to be on the Aretha Franklin Amazing Grace album. hmm
Okay.
The movie that was made.
Yes.
Actually, it was not like a movie. It was the real thing. Okay, so um, and gospel, of course, is my foundation. It really gospel music. Um, so that was easy. That was easy. I used to listen to Aretha with all of her runs and the Queen of Soul. And when she's hitting all of her high naturals, and she said this to me, when you want to learn your ad libs when singing, listen to a male artist. You will learn how to do those ad libs. And I said, not female? She says, male.
Mm.
And I'm thinking, not female because I was listening to her. But she says, a male artist. And so, yes, okay. And I started doing that as well, listening to those male artists who I really like, and there are so many of them. Oh my goodness, so many of them. Um,
And so if I could just interject a little because there's so much richness that you've just shared. And the question that's sort of popping in my head is how did you stay grounded in the midst of all of this wonderfulness of, meeting legends? How did you stay grounded? And you were definitely hungry, you were definitely being fed, and you were definitely open to learning and growing. But how did you remain grounded in the midst of all of these greats?
well, I really have to give thanks to my dad
Mm.
because he instilled in his children never believe that there's anyone greater than you. The only thing that differ in man is his title.
Wow.
So when I sat in the company of all these people, I just felt like I was one of them.
Brilliant.
Hmm.
Brilliant.
And you know what? And they received me that way. I did some background work with Gladys Knight, and her brother Bubba says, Freddie Poole came in here to do some backup work, but she ended up being a star. That was, and
Wow.
and and that was all. It was all humor. Okay, and everybody laughed about it, and so forth. But of course, Gladys Knight. Oh wow. I mean, she is so powerful. And
She
I
is.
and I yes, 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 I love her. Um and what I learned even from Gladys, and this is like years into my career, what I learned, because you never stop learning.
Yes, absolutely. You
You
have to be
never
open to it as well. You have to be
you, yes, you have to be open to it. And I just watched how she carried herself when there are fans, approaching her. Okay, uh, to be kind,
mm,
and to know that with all these people, you don't have a job, so be kind. Okay, because we're all very, very, very important, and that is what I would hear from these iconic artists, from these old artists.
mm.
Everybody is important.
Brilliant.
Everybody's time is to be valued.
Absolutely. Ab-
Everybody's time, and so when I'm with them, I'm thinking, okay, well, this is my time, and are you going to value me? And they
ab-
do. They did. They did, because they respected my hunger to
mm.
understand this business, and they loved me enough to wanted they wanted to protect me.
But but
Hmm.
but there's something very powerful there, Freddie, in the hunger and what your dad instilled in you, that strength that you are on that level without being in the ego. And I feel that's what probably people pick up with you. You were powerful within your own way, powerful in your own strength, and you felt you were on the same level of them, but there wasn't not from the place of ego, but from that place of knowing who you truly were, from that soul place. And that's I feel why you were so well received because they just saw somebody in front of them who was strong in himself, but you had humility.
Thank you.
And with that's powerful when you can stand strong in humility and not want to look down on someone else, want to think that you're better than, not want to be, a prima donna. There's power in that space. And I believe that's what people saw in Freddie Pool. And that's
Well,
why they embrace.
mm, well, my daughters have said, Mom, um, why did you remain like like in the background scene? Why didn't you just really? Why didn't you just have that solo name? Okay, and that is a very strong. Uh, hmm. It was a very strong thought for me,
Mm.
and I didn't think it is. I don't think it was because I did not have the talent. I think I don't know. Maybe it was the humbleness. to just to just to just to just sit back
Y-
and and be a support. That's because that's what I was doing. Like backup singers or supporters. Uh, many times the person out front uh, will. Okay, I used to do some of the leads. Okay, Lola, you may see this. I don't know. I used to do some of the leads, and she would have like a mic, but her mic was, of course, it was not on. She just had a dummy mic, but I'd be doing the leads uh, because there's no way possible she could do the leads and do leaps and all of those things. There's no way, and
Mm,
and to be able to hit notes that make sense. There's no way you can do that. Okay, so on certain songs, I I do the lead. I would do
wow.
her leads. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Mm. And is it also, but you were, and I'm just presenting this to you, were you happy to be in the background because you were content with what you were doing?
Yes, I was.
Yes, because that's what I'm seeing. I mean, I'm seeing this on your face. If you talk about being a background singer or support singer, and it feels very much like I'm in my element anyway. I'm happy to be here because I'm doing what I love and I'm singing and I'm singing to an audience and I'm doing what I know.
And I was, and I was comfortable working with some of the best in the business.
Mm,
I was already there at that level with them. I was actually sharing their journey.
mm,
Okay? I was sharing their journey. I was in the company of all those people that the delegates were not in. We were not on that level. Okay. And when I say on that level with the Frank Sinatras and the Bob Hopes, okay, the Sammy Davis Juniors, uh, and uh, to be able to even sit with the comedians like Red Fox and Slappy White and all the others, that whole team of comedians, and I'm right there. I'm included when there is, let's say, an event for all the show business, all the artists who are working on the strip,
mm.
who are, when I say that the strip, the Las Vegas strip, uh, uh, there is a night when everybody's going to meet at this ranch. And I was there with all these people.
You've got so much history. There's so
I
much.
was, I was, I was sharing their journey. I didn't read about it. I didn't hear about it. I was having the experience.
Mm,
Yes, yes. And and oh, I think I'm about to have an answer for myself that I haven't had before. So, as a backup singer, a background singer, supporting the artist, we're family.
mm.
So, when the artist has to be wherever the artist has to be, the artist is bringing family along
Wow.
because the artist is needing family to support.
Thoughts, yes.
Right? So that afforded me the opportunity to have the experience with all these iconic people. When we're traveling, we really have nobody but each other. When we're touring, we really have no one but each other. Uh, After the show, we're we go back to the hotel. We live more with each other than we do with our families.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
And
Yes.
there's
So
this.
so we have to love each other. Okay? We do. I mean, there's no way we get asked how do you get along with each other? Well, we disagree, and sometimes it's like, but we know how to get into our own space, and
Yeah.
to respect the fact that, okay, you need your space. I
Yes.
understand. Yes.
Absolutely. And that's life, that's life with his mother, father, grandparent. That's life. I mean, even sometimes with my boys, someone's like, I need my space, I need my space. So I totally get that. And we're gonna sort of move things forward a little bit more now. So you perform with the former Supremes.
Yes.
Right, yes. And now you're performing with, as we said, the Three Degrees. What's that journey, that sort of segment of your journey been like? I can only assume it's been the same as your formative journey with all those other incredible artists. So what has that journey and that transition been like? And also you've done some of your own solo um, work as well. So just share a little bit more about that, Freddie.
Oh my, working with the Three Degrees, it has been a wonderful, wonderful journey in my life. Um, when I was working with the former ladies of the Supremes, we used to tour with the Three Degrees.
Ah,
Okay, and we would joke with each other. The former ladies, like, I'm going to work with the Three Degrees. Three Degrees. I'm going over with the Supremes. I'm going to do this. Um, and now, wow, I am with the Three Degrees. So, uh, Valerie has always been one who, um, she's been like a big sister, like that that caring kind of thing. Who, like, for instance, even to today, this morning, I talked to her, and it's like, how are you doing? It's, I want to know that you're okay.
yes.
Or yeah, or uh, when we're, uh, she'll give a call. Okay, I'm just checking. Are you okay? She's always been that. Um, and with Helen, before, Jessica came. Well, Helen was one who took care of us too by cooking. She cooked for us. She cooked for us.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, yeah, yeah. And so, but when I joined the group, both Helen and Valerie worked with me, rehearsed me. I had less than 3 weeks to learn their material and their choreography. That was not easy. That was not easy because I had left a group where, just kind of, just easy, baby, baby, okay? And now I'm with
The
Dirty
move.
Old Man, okay? And it was like being on a racetrack. And and they would look over at me because I'm so accustomed to moving, just gliding.
Elegantly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and as we're changing positions on stage, uh, someone would say to me, "No flowing." Okay, and that means you got to hit it. Okay, so, but uh, they taught me. Uh, what am I trying to say? The transition from the former ladies of the Supremes to the Three Degrees. Well, this is a whole nother uh,
Ball game.
energy. Energy. I mean, I'm going to say energy. Yeah, yeah, and because all these years I've worked with many uh, different women, I know how. I know. I know how to become more of who you are,
Mm,
as opposed to what they were.
okay.
Okay, okay. So the transition.
Yeah.
Am I making myself clear? I don't know. Am I making sense here?
You're making sense. You're making sense.
Okay. Okay, but it has been a wonderful journey. Um, I sometimes will tease when I'm on stage and I'm looking at from one to the other, uh, and I'm enjoying that singing. And I will say, I thought I bought a ticket. I forgot to come in. I forgot to be singing because I'm enjoying you. And
Wow.
so there is laughter. There's laughter. But hmm, I don't know what else I could say. They have supported me. Um, hmm, I love them. I love them.
You know,
They've
this
been they've been sisters. They have been sisters with me. We're we're family. This morning, Valerie, mhm, I love them.
is okay. And,
Hmm.
you know, it makes it all more poignant in terms of some of what you've personally been through for them to have been there in that space for you. Um, Even now,
They've always been there for me. I when my mom passed, the first phone call I received from anybody in the show business industry was Valerie Holiday. Hmm. Um, and I get the same kind of support from Helen. Yes, but Valerie's always been like that serious big sister.
so
It's
she's
like
seen,
okay, it's like okay, Freddie. It's like uh, get control of yourself. Okay, when I'm going through, you know, the loss of my family members. Hmm. She's that strength in the physical. Hmm.
brilliant,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, that's gotten off into another. Can I say why I'm where I am right now?
and indeed, if you choose to.
Okay. Yeah, because my sister just passed. And yeah, and it is very, very, very painful. Hmm.
So I'd like to thank you for taking the time to still want to do this interview. Um, you know, you took the time because it's very fresh. It's very very new, you know, and you've chosen to sit here and speak to me for just over an hour. And I just really want to, it shows us what person you are. And I just really want to say thank you and honor you for taking that time and sharing and going back in time with all those memories. There's definitely a part two later down because I know there's so much more inside of you. And I'd also love to do that driving Miss Daisy with you one day. And it just that's the running joke between myself and Freddie. You know, when I come back to the States, when I was there the last time, she goes, "How are you getting around?" And sometimes Uber and sometimes I take the subway. She goes, "Oh no, no, you can't do that. I'm gonna drive you around. I'm gonna be your driver, Stacey, and then we're gonna have some music in the background. We're gonna stop off, have some grits and all those wonderful things, and have some fun." But Freddie Pool, I
Oh,
just want to say thank you.
listen, I'm looking forward to driving Miss Daisy. I really am. You know what? One thing I want to, and this is going to take me way back, and I forgot to mention this. You know how we talk about the Dorothy Dandridge that, she just put a little toe in the swimming pool in Las Vegas, and how the pool was drained?
Yes,
Do you
yes.
remember that? Okay. My first experience in Las Vegas, I was told do not go to the swimming pool. I thought, oh, it's okay because I don't have a hairdresser, who can really, fluff my hair. Okay. And then I was told, do not go to the dining room to eat. Okay. Just to order room service. I was put up in a VIP house. And I thought, They don't want me in the dining room because I am a star, and they don't want.
So you changed it around in your mind, not because of the color of your skin, but because it's excellent. Love
All
that.
right, right. And I just, I think about the journey, like, and now it's like I was so naive. I didn't know any better.
But it protects.
But look, those iconic artists, when I said they taught me, they were teaching me their history. They shared some of their history to help me to understand that they have paved the way for me. And they don't want all of their work to be in vain. So, you know, please, we we will pass the torch on to you young people. And so you must know that it is not an easy task.
Yes. Thank you.
I just had to say that. And if this is the end of this interview, I I have to say, but who has been my rock? God Almighty. God has given me a gift. And my granny used to tell me, God has given you a gift, and God wants you to share it. One day you're going to be all over the world. And I was listening to her. I was a little girl. It's like 4 years old. She'd say to me, you look at the brightest star in the sky. That's you. And people all over the world can see that star. And that's you.
If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to click the bell icon for notifications on future videos. Thank you for watching.